All right, what's up, y'all? So it's time to construct your first meal. Now, for most people, with most diets, constructing meals is a really vague thing. Because according to your diet, you've got the foods that you know that you can choose from, but how much of those foods isn't quite so clear. You're basically making meals with these foods that are on the plan, and you're going for what you feel like is a reasonable serving size, and then hoping for the best. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how to construct a meal with the optimal amount of the foods that matter. Now, pro tip, if you can plan one meal, you can plan all your meals. All right, I'm going to give you a list of the main food groups that you can pull from to construct your meals. Animal foods, top priority. Any animal foods, any cut, any way you like. And that includes beef and steaks, pork, any and all cuts, any way you like. Poultry, including chicken, which it's fine, kind of boring to me, but go for it. And yes, eggs are absolutely in the deal. Next food group to pull from is carbohydrates. Starches like sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, fruits of all kinds, white rices, and then we've got vegetables and greens. Hearty vegetables that you can cook in butter, pre-washed soft greens. Frozen produce is totally cool. And then we've got complements to real food like spices, seasonings, condiments, and dairy. Unrefined salt, black pepper, spices, seasonings, herbs, condiments, sauces, salad dressings, and full-fat dairy to spice things up a little bit. Traditional fats such as the best all-time cooking fat, butter. Avoid this kind of BS. Now, when you think about it, that's a pretty simple list of food groups to pull foods from. And by the way, pro tip, having limited decisions is not restrictive. It's liberating, meaning that when I know what's in and what's out, and that's a simplified list of what's in, I'm excluding all the complication and confusion with the stuff that's out. All right, so now that we know the food groups that we can choose from, here's how to actually do it. This is what I like to call, it's kind of like an SHT Macros. And once you get the hang of it, it's so liberating because it's the perfect amount of structure for the most important things and the things that matter, combined with some flexibility. Now, I want to go off on an educational tangent for just a moment. Remember the purpose of eating food. What is the purpose physiologically and biologically? Well, number one, you're looking to nourish the body with nutrients, and that means eating nutrient-dense foods. And as we already know, the most nutrient-dense foods are the foods that contain protein, and specifically animal foods. Now, the other purpose of eating real food is to create energy in a specific way. We're trying to nurture the body's ability to use fat for fuel. So if we're going to do some carbs, they got to be carbs from real food sources and in relatively smaller amounts compared to everything else. Now, first, you're going to structure every meal around a protein because animal-based sources of protein are the most nutrient-dense foods there are. Now, we're looking for 30 grams or more of protein, which is going to equate to 4 ounces minimum, 6 ounces a little bit more ideal, 8 ounces is going to be about half a pound of meat, or 4 or 5 eggs, or a whole can of salmon, or a whole can of tuna. Let me put that on our plate. Now, because we're looking to moderate our carbohydrates, we're looking for about a half a cup, it could be a heaping half cup, of some kind of carbohydrate with each meal. That could be a heaping half cup of some amazing white rice, a heaping half cup of cooked sweet potatoes, or a half a cup of your choice of fruit. Now, finally, you're going to balance things out and finish off the rest of your hunger with vegetables or greens, or you could even have more protein. Of course, on my side, I love to have me some cheese and some creamy dressing. And now that you've measured out the most important things, which is your protein for the nutritional value, getting that minimum of 30 grams of protein, plus you've got your measured out carbs to keep that relatively smaller. Oops, we forgot some heavy cream to put in with these berries. We got some vegetables and greens. Now, pro tip, when you go to eat these foods, I would start in the order of eating the protein first, so you make sure that you get your 30 grams of protein in. I would make sure that you get some vegetables and greens, and then I would finish with your carbohydrates. Now with this formula, you can make an infinite number of meals with an infinite number of combinations, as long as you've got your 30 grams worth of protein or more, and as long as you're moderating your carbohydrates by measuring them out to a half a cup, and as long as you've got vegetables and greens to balance things out, you're golden. All right, so there you have it. It's so simple and so doable. And it's fun because it gives you a focus. You know exactly what you're supposed to eat and how much of it. Now with this method, you can cook things on the go. So if you want to make some eggs, you know you need to whip up about 4 eggs or more. If you want to add some carbohydrates to it, you just need to measure out your half a cup. But in a lot of situations, you're going to be cooking these big meals, or you'll be pulling leftover from some big meals that you've already cooked. And now you know you just need to pull from those prepared foods an appropriate amount of protein per meal. If you're going to have carbs, measure out the carbs per meal, and then balance things out to your liking with vegetables and greens. And you can always spice things up with salt, pepper, spices, seasonings, herbs, condiments, dressings. And if you're still hungry, you can always eat more vegetables and greens. Or my favorite, you can always eat more protein. Questions, comments, feedback, even snide remarks, send it my way. And as always, keep it real.